Hey everybody, it's Mr. Loose, and your technique of the week is how to make a sculpture out of clay. So, today I'm going to show you how to create something using just clay. And this is a very simple sculpture, okay? This is not something that's going to be super crazy, ultra special, right? It's just a little example of how to attach and create a piece of sculpture using clay. So, what I'm going to do is I've already got my ball of clay that I've made into the most beautiful, most smooth, most perfect ball you'll ever see in your life. Oh. Okay, so I've got my ball of clay and I'm going to put that to the side. This is going to be my head. I'm making a head, okay, a floating head, which I know floating heads are kind of creepy, and you know how I feel about those, but today a floating head is all right. So now what I'm going to do is I want to use these spare parts of clay, and I want to attach them to this to create a face. So what I'm going to do, I've already smoothed out my ball of clay, okay? Now I am going to make, let's say, a nose. All right, so I'm going to use this clay, and you just kind of use it like, it's similar to like Play-Doh, except Play-Doh is made with flour, and the thing about Play-Doh is that you can always keep working with it. You can build and destroy, build and destroy, build and destroy. You can't do that with clay. Clay is like us. It gets tired. And the more you work it and the more you do things with it, the more it's just going to go, meh, and then it can no longer be used. Okay, so it's like us. Think of like a really, really hard workout, and you just keep working out and working out and working out, where you get tired eventually, right? You can't go on forever. So that's exactly how clay is. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting some pieces and I'm just kind of working them over in my hands to create different things. So I said I was going to make a nose. So I think I like this nose. This is a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called score. And score is simply when you add little scratches. You can see that little scratches on the clay. But you're not just going to do it there. You're going to do it on the two pieces you're connecting. So I want to put this nose on right there. So I have to put the exact same thing, little scratches. Okay? Because I want to attach this to this. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of water on my finger, just that much, and I'm going to put it on top of the scoring. And then and that's called slipping. And I'm going to lay the piece that I want to attach, score to score. All right. And what that does is when you score it, it creates these like finger things so that when it dries, they interlock and they hold the piece strongly together. Versus just putting two things that are smooth together like that, boop, they come right off. It's like this. There's nothing for it to grab onto. Now, this is not enough. I'm going to go in, and you don't have to use a tool. You can use your fingers. And you're just going to drag the clay over a little bit to get rid of that seam, kind of make it look like it's all one piece. Okay, that's all you're going to do. So I have created, and I'm going to even use my fingers, and I'm going to kind of do this little bit to it so that his nose kind of doesn't look like it's just sitting on top. It looks like it's coming out of the face. Okay, so that, and again, let's get rid of those seams because you want it to look like it's all one piece. Makes it look more realistic and convincing and not like you just took a bunch of pieces and stuck them together. Okay, all about that craftsmanship. All right, so that's good for now. All right, so I got my nose. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some eyeballs. So same thing. I've got my eye, but I'm going to score where I want the eye to go. So I want the eye to go right there. So I'm going to put the little scratches, which is called a score. And then I'm going to make this the eye. So I'm going to put the scratches on the eye. A little bit of water, just a little bit, and that's called the slip. So I slipped and scored. And then I attach. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to smooth out the seam And I want his eyes to look a little bugged out. So I'm just going to clean up those seams a little bit. All right. So there is his eye. And if you wanted to like squish it down a little bit more, just to make sure it stays, that's great. All right. Now we need another eye, right? But I don't want to be boring. I don't want him to have the exact same eye. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to make the eye just a little bit smaller. So he's like, if that makes any sense at all. He's kind of like, All right, awesome. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to score, slip, and attach. And then I'm going to clean up my seams, make it look like it's all one. Ooh, missed a spot. Okay. And okay, that is super, super funny. So I think he needs some eyebrows, but I'm going to give him a unibrow because unibrows make the world a fun place. All right, so excellent. So all I'm doing is making the pieces that I want to use out of the spare clay and then just attaching them. Super simple. So now I'm going to score. And then I want to attach this, so I'm going to score it where I'm going to attach it. Add a little bit of water. And then, doot. Okay. Kind of looks like Squidward. Okay. Doot, 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 doot. And da-da-da-da. All right. And it's kind of hard to get in there, so I'm going to use the end of that just to smooth it out. All right. So now I've got my crazy guy. And you know what? I want to, since these are solid, I'm going to go in and I'm going to poke just a little hole in there, which will give the idea that it's like a pupil, but also it'll give some of that clay some air to breathe with. So with clay, when we're done and letting it dry and we put it in the kiln, it's going to turn it into a rock. It's going to take all this water and moisture that's in the clay, which is allowing us to mold and use it. It's going to take all that water out and it's going to make it solid, like hard as a rock. And when clay gets hot, it's got all these little like pockets of water in there. And if the clay isn't dry completely, and it can explode. Poof. Okay, it's kind of scary. So we don't want it to explode. So you don't want a pure solid piece. This is solid. So you can either do one of two things. You can poke holes in the back part that you will never see, or you can carve out the inside and make it hollow. So never, ever, ever have a pure 100% solid piece. You always need to have it hollow. So you can either poke holes in it so that the air can escape. All right, and that's on the back, so you would never see it. Or you can carve out through the bottom or the back of your piece to make sure that it is hollow and that it doesn't explode. Because a hollow piece or a piece with some holes, just so the air can get out, will help to make it not explode. All right, so those are two options that you can do. Obviously, I'm not done. I would need to do more. But before we go, let's put a mouth on our crazy cool guy. So you can either put a mouth in, or you can draw one. All right. Okay, and there. Ta-da! He is so excited. And if you wanted to add texture, like for hair, you could. If you wanted to make the hair and put it on, if you wanted to give him horns, or make him look like a monster, the possibilities are endless. And you don't have to make a person. You could make you could make an animal. You could make an alien. You could make, a pet rock with like features. The possibilities are endless. The only thing that's going to hold you back is going to be your imagination. So as I am putting on the ears, I want you to start thinking about what you will make. So this is really cool. Okay, and there you go, guys. That is how you make a sculpture using clay.